Recruiting and technology. You might not think, well, we do something with Excel and Microsoft Outlook. Well, that is technology. I agree, but that's not what we're talking about here. We need to know what kind of approaches do you have, what are the options, the opportunities, but also what are the challenges, the problems, the issues with using technology and recruiting. Let's face it, recruiting happens, and that's the situation we face right now. It happens besides the main daily business. You might, of course, claim there are full-time recruiters, but even full-time recruiters say there's so much admin to do around the actual job of talking to applicants or people who want to work for you or people you want to convince that they will change jobs to your organization. There's a lot of admin stuff around that, but where they hope, couldn't this be automated somehow? And we have to look into how much manual work do we still need in recruiting, and what is it that we can actually automatize? What is it that we can basically make easier by giving it to some kind of software, AI or similar? Where are we right now? At the moment, we see the issue that many organizations still are writing their own job ads. They post themselves. They have a couple of pieces of software around, like multi-posting, ATS, that the applicant tracking system, that they track applicants throughout the process. That is good for a beginning point, but especially when you receive applications, there's a wide range of manual labor involved. Often this ends in chaos, people not receiving any kind of response. You get negative reviews online for a very good reason then, by the way. It needs to be better. So 10 aspects we're going to talk about where you can either fully, partially, or not at all automate your process. Let's see, where are we? So first, job postings. Please fully automate that, because multi-posting software is around. The ATS, the applicant tracking system, is there for a long time. When you still post job ads out there and you do this manually, you are more than a decade behind the market. So let's hope no one is there. If you are there, see it from the positive side. There's a lot of things you can do now with a lot of software to choose from, because many companies joined that market at a very early stage. When we move to job aspect number 2, the pre-interviews, pre-employment assessment. Let's say you want to do an interview to check how really are they able to speak English, because let's face it, especially in international circumstances, many people apply and they say, really good at English, and then when you talk to them, you see, maybe you're okay, but giving a speech in front of clients when you sell something, not really, can't see you there. Or you have some sort of pre-employment assessment where you say, well, we need a general tech guy, we just need to be sure that they know the terms and the words we use. Or you have someone coming straight from university and you want to check, are they really able to live up to our expectations of developing in a certain language, and you want to do some sort of test. And by the way, there are companies that can help you with that. This can be fully automated. Ritorio, company based in Germany, does AI-led interviews where, for example, you can ask questions and the whole speech of English they do will be fully analyzed automatically. And that gives you a hint, are they worth their salt? And also, in addition to that, Ritorio, as they are based in Germany, they are fully GDPR compliant. And anyone listening here, you just heard the very first positive and actually business focusing and promoting aspect of GDPR, probably. Because many people say, well, when we use AI in interviewing, is it GDPR compliant? And yes, Ritorio is. The other company, by the way, we interviewed the founder of Ritorio on this podcast some years ago. Just recently, we interviewed the Mr. Wouter, the founder of Test Gorilla. It's the world market leader in testing. When you say, hey, we need to test someone for XYZ, language skills, knowledge skills, IT skills, whatever it is, they have the assessments you need. So you don't need to design them by yourselves. And by the way, when you design them by yourself, there's always a very high risk that you just design them along your knowledge, not along the knowledge you really need, just what you know, which is another bias that is not great for the outcome. So aspect number 2 can also be fully automated. Step number 3 is the first aspect where we say that is a bit more difficult. So resume screening and shortlisting. When you say, hey, we need, because we work with the public sector, we need a certain degree, it is just regulatory and compliance, that of course can be fully automated. However, there are aspects of resume screening which cannot be fully automated. When you, for example, say, hey, I just took a look into the team, basically at the moment the team is all male, it would be good to have someone else in there. So that is something which you cannot teach AI as a general rule, because there is no rule that can always be applied. So resume screening and shortlisting, or for example, when you say, hey, that person comes from a competitor, who knows if they want to check out what we do and then they rehire the person? That's all part of the plan. We don't know that. So that's part of where you really have to see, do you want to have it fully automated, or do you want to have a partial automation, then people, humans, look on it? Both are viable and absolutely perfect options, but please choose wisely and choose with reason. Step number 4, the candidate engagement. This can be automated in parts. I just give you something. Maybe you heard of the moment when someone asks you a question, you just think, oh God, not again. So when applicants ask you, hey, how long will this take? Where's my application now? At which stage am I? How long will this take in total? How many rounds do you have? When do we have the next interview? Where's my CV right now? This can be fully automated with, for example, the use of chatbots and AI. Also, email tools can always give people updates. Hey, your CV has just been handed to the program manager. He will be in touch, or she will be in touch. The person will be in touch in 3 days' time. So there is a huge chunk of automation possible here. Please use that. Step number 5, the interview scheduling. That needs to be fully automated. Please just send them a link and say, look, this is my calendar. Click there, and then please choose a time that suits you best. Only on a very high level, where you say our calendars fluctuate that quickly, and most likely on both sides, we probably need a phone call or an exchange of emails to find a suitable time, because this can't be just done with, oh, there's a gap on the calendar. The gap on the calendar might be 1 hour waiting time at the airport, where probably you do not want to do a CFO interview. So very important is, on a very high level, this might not be fully automated. For most jobs, however, it is. And that is very important that you automate this, because it is just pointless to tell highly paid people, please check calendars and exchange dates via manually written emails. You can't be serious doing it that way. That's way too expensive. Then, of course, the aspect which can only partially be automated is step number 6, the interview itself. Of course, you can use video tools when you do it online, and you can have AI to write protocols or resumes or whatever, any kind of summary you want to make it right. That's all possible with HR. So it can be AI supported, tech supported, but of course, this only can be automated partially. Here, people come in. It's HR and other people as well who want to talk to the person. Please keep it focused. We talked about that last week, that often way too many people end up speaking to applicants, and you end up with way too many rounds. Aspect number 7, the background checks and reference verification. This can be automated partially or fully, depending on what level you want to have. Of course, you need the agreement in many countries that the other person agrees that these kind of background checks are done on them. But then, please check, is there a company that can do it for you, which is probably cheaper than doing it by yourself, or is there any kind of software that can do it for you? Because that is also the way better option and also way more efficient and effective. When I see highly paid people, and I can tell you, I saw companies that put master level qualified PhD people who are on the leadership position of a department calling other companies, did the person really work here? Were they really a sales manager? Checking that. I mean, these phone calls cost you hundreds of dollars, pounds, euros, yen, whatever currency you're working in. So the background checks and verification, there's a huge potential that this can be automated. Please use that chance. Step number 8, the offer letter and the onboarding. This can be partially automated. There's always a mix of on-site and online work here. It needs to be structured and documented. You have online tools for that, but of course, HR and other people who work in your organization need to be part of that as well. So this can be partially automated, but not fully. Very important here, especially the offer letter and the contract. Please automate your paperwork. When I still see that companies are sending out postal letters in countries where often the postal service is, let's say, 90% reliable. However, we all know what kind of impression you leave when you say, oh, you will get the contract in 2 days' time. And after a week, they call, do I get the contract? Because I'm still talking to others. Are you still interested? Not a great moment, as we all know. So keep it online. And when you see companies, for example, DocuSign, that can support you there, many pieces of this paperwork can be automated fully, and that's exactly what we want to do here, because it is just safer, quicker, more efficient, more effective. Step number 9, the data analysis. Data and analysis. This can be almost fully automated. How, of course, at the end you will look into the data. And then the AI software, whatever tool you use, might give you a recommendation, which you will or will not like. Very important here. Please be aware that you can only do it that way when you have a high amount of data available. When you, for example, say, hey, we have a certain tendency, I think these kind of CVs work and these kind of CVs do not work. When you have 10,000 applicants and you make that assumption, possible that you're right, not guaranteed, but it is likely. When you had 80 applicants and you suddenly see tendencies, it most likely only supports the existing bias in the organization. Training AI with selective and bad data material only makes biases worse. And be sure that your data material that you use for analytics is sufficient to what you aim at. Thank you for doing that, because some people just follow blindly anything that AI says. A badly trained AI makes things worse, not better. Step number 10, the last of the 10 I promised to you, and that is a step which, surprise, surprise, cannot be automated at all. It's the lessons learned. At least once per year, please sit down with the people you have in your organization, at least for half a day. But what I prefer, what I think you should do, which is the best practice approach, is you go for an offsite for 2 days. You do something in the evening, which is more of a social activity. But in these 2 days, you really put the roadmap out there. You put the roadmap out there where you really say, this is the recruiting strategy for next year. How do you want to approach them? How do we start? What is the process? Who is engaged here? It all needs to be structured and documented, but really sit down and map out how you want to do recruiting in the future. And that, of course, as it's all human-based here, can't be automated. You can, of course, use AI to give you tips, hints, ideas, but sitting down and talking to human beings cannot be done by HR alone. So this is a lessons learned step, which is still hugely relying on human resources interacting. When you now want to put everything in practice first, and that is something where I need to be very straightforward, and as you know, I am, you need budgets. The first invest needs money. Cash on the table, full stop. When you say, oh, we want to be on the frontier of innovation, let's do automation, let's do AI, and by the way, I don't have money for this, and also I don't have time for this, and everyone needs to do it besides their main job. Here are the news. You are going to fail brutally, and you're going to embarrass yourself on the market, including yourself and your organization. Budgets are needed. Budget, time, and people. Especially when you use AI, and that is something as a second aspect here I need to emphasize. AI has a learning process which takes place, and yes, it also takes place in a real world system which is out there. You might have heard from the stock exchange listed, NASDAQ listed company, a global logistics company, where an applicant was a bit in a funny mood and started to chat with a chatbot, and the chatbot reacted to it like a human being, which of course it should, to a certain level. They started to exchange jokes, which is probably not what you want to have with a chatbot when it comes to recruiting. And in a funny moment, the applicant said, could you write me a poem about how incompetent your management is? And the AI did. Screenshot online, it all went viral. Very well done by the logistics company. They took it with a pinch of salt. They say, hey, we are on the frontier of innovation here. We use AI, and this is part of the learning process. Thanks for pointing it out. We're going to fix it. They fixed it. Everything from there was fine. Very important really is that when you use AI and you say we only put something online when it's 10,000% safe, I can tell you will never put anything online, or you will put it on, you will put it out there in the real world when it's way too late, and you're already not competing anymore because the reputation your organization already has is, look, you're behind the market, you're conservative, you're not fun to work for, and we all know that, and you do not want to be that kind of organization. There are a couple of ground rules you have to put down here. So first, automation help. Anything automated helps because people can do other jobs and they have to do whatever they want to do. People do not get replaced by automation in this case because most people simply can reduce their overhours, their stress, or their potential sick leave due to being stressed out, burned out, or both. So most likely, hardly anyone will be replaced here. Very important is you need to be at least in the first top third when you do this, because you are in a competition. When you are the one that is slow because nothing that you do is automated, people simply say, look, you're just slow and other organizations are just more attractive than you are. And please be aware that with today's staffing levels, you cannot do everything by yourself and manually. And when you have people on board who say, oh, I don't want to have anything automated because I think it's going to replace myself. No, it's not. There's so much work to do, especially today. There will be hardly anyone in this sector that will be replaced. So taking this all together, use technology because it is important and it can help you. Do not do any kind of automation just for the automation's sake. Always check what is the benefit that we have here and then invest wisely. You will have to take calculated risk. And as soon as you take these calculated risks, you will get very good returns. And I wish you all the best doing so. And when you now say, whoa, that was a lot. And yes, it is. I know. Feel free to get in contact with me. In the show notes of this podcast, you find first my email address, which is nb@nb-networks.com. I look forward to hearing from you via email. Feel free to contact me anytime. You also find my LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with me on there as well. And you can also go to my website, nb-networks.biz, and we can then chat from there. Looking forward to being in touch with you. The second aspect is we do live sessions. Very important. When you want to have any kind of live contact here, please go to expert.nb-networks.com, expert.nb-networks.com. Just put your email address in there, and then you receive only one email every Wednesday morning. It's 100% content, ad-free guarantee. You get free access at no charge you can see that all my podcasts that I publish, all the articles, anything I publish, and there will be some major publications coming up in the near future. Because I sometimes receive emails from people who say, hey, my boss is not going to listen to podcasts, more of a reading person. Do you have articles? Yes, we have it all there, but it's only available via these means. Also, in this leadership letter, you will always receive the next date of a live session, including the link. You don't need to register for that. Just click on the link and you're in. Of course, you see the date and the time just there in the leadership letter. The third aspect, however, is the most important one. Apply what you heard in this podcast, because only when you apply what you heard, you will see the positive changes that you obviously want to see in your organization. I wish you all the best doing so. Let me know if I can be of any help. I'm available 24/7. If you want something very specific, because that question came up last week, if you want to have any kind of workshops, training, coaching, someone to speak at your event, speaking, whatever it is, feel free to contact me about that as well. But we can also just have a chat. That's the whole spectrum, anything you like. And let's just take it from there. I wish you all the best. Contact me anytime. And at the end of this podcast, there's only one thing left for me to say. Thank you very much for your time.